home. Another match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Fox Chapel Racquet Club in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, bringing you the Steel City Classic, with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corient. Tournament support has been provided by the following local sponsors: PNC, PJ Dick Trumbull Lindy Group, Delaney Automotive Group, and Xenon Paddle. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Brian Fagg, bringing you the men's semifinal match between Tommy Gregurovic and Tin Ostojic and Tomas Christian and Guillermo Nunez. Brian, welcome to the booth.
Mike, thanks so much. I'm really, really excited for this one. We are in store for the 2 and 3 seed facing off right now. It looks like the court is a little drier, which is exciting. It's been a rainy day here in Pittsburgh. To familiarize everybody with the players, on the near side, about to serve in the white hat and white shoes, is Tin Ostojic. His partner in the yellow shoes and blue is Tomislav Gregurovic. I'll wait on the far side of the court as the camera is paneling. In the white shoes, serving right now, is Tomas Christian, with his partner Guillermo Nunez in the all black. And Mike, I'm really excited. And up in the booth, we got Mike Yakimski, and we'll hear him announce here.
This is a men's semifinal round match. We'll play best 2 out of 3 sets with tie breaks. Introducing the players to my left, playing in the ad court from Stamford, Connecticut, Tommy Gregurovic. His partner on the deuce side, also from Stamford, Connecticut, Tin Ostojic. To my right, playing on the deuce side from Verona, New Jersey, Tomas Christian. His partner from New York, New York, Guillermo Nunez. Christian Nunez will serve to start the match.
Yeah, it's good to see that we've got a little bit of, not quite, the heavy precipitation we had in the earlier, some of the earlier matches.
Start with a new one. Go 6, go 4, 6 good.
See the court
Seems to be drying out.
looking a little drier there.
Yep, I was going to say, we might avoid some slop ball here, Mike, early, hopefully.
We'll wing it.
And Mike, just the initial, start of the match. This might be one of the first times. Again, I didn't see the spin. We're assuming Christian Nunez chose to serve first, correct?
I would make that. That's a fair assumption. That, generally playing, the poorer the weather, the more you want to be that kicking it off rather than receiving that serve.
And we see the team of Nunez Christian switching sides immediately up at net to make sure they have 4 hands in the middle on overheads.
Nice. Yeah, and I think I love watching Stojic and Gregurovic play. I saw them play a little bit at the Chicago Charities, and I think it was at the Charities. They, shot makers. They've got all the shots. They like to play a little bit quicker. Love to hit the big drives in the backcourt. You see some great hands there.
And Mike, that's what's so fun about this game, right? With the weather being not as good, and you're able to really hit the ball and have it be spinning off the deck. That's got to be a pro for that young team, right? As you said in Charities, they want to play quick, and this weather definitely helps them do that.
Yes, but then I think there's a learned skill. I call it mudding. How well do they play in the sloppy conditions? If that ball, for instance, when they're in the backcourt, they're looking to hit the drives and the ball's sliding off their paddle. There can be a level of frustration that sometimes creeps in and in cruddy weather. I know as I got deeper into my playing career, I always hated playing in the rain, but I started to figure out that, certain adjustments have to be made. And it'll be interesting if the weather does, hold out. They're not going to have to worry as much, but see if they have to make any adjustments due to the skid ball.
Love 30.
And a good point there with a lot of transition, right? Again, with this kind of weather, you're going to get some of that transition, and these guys feel each other out as the match starts.
And, the lefty-righty, wow.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that was pretty solid from Nunez there, just stepping up.
With how Gregurovic closed, you would have thought this is a clay court with him sliding and skidding in.
Yeah.
But such good hands from Nunez. He's one of, if not the best player in the country in those hand-to-hand exchanges up at net.
And Nunez, and Tomas Christian too. He's been around the game for a real long time, and he's played a lot with Drew Broderick, and they have only that they're the second team. They were the first team to beat Salazar and Regalado, and they played a heck of a match that time. But he's just a fantastic, very disciplined player. He actually jumped in the booth for that portion of that 5-hour match I was calling last weekend at Short Hills, and the guy's got some commentating game too.
So he's a top player on and off the court, right, in the booth?
Yeah. He was. It was great to have him in there, and he was in there for about an hour of it. He was in there for about 20% of it.
And that point right there by Nunez, he has some of the best lefty stuff in the game, right? And in this weather, that is winning paddle for them to get a little bit shorter of lobs and for him to really try to spin the ball.
Yeah, and I think the most effective spun ball, and this is something that he hits very well, is the ball that's kind of landing deep and moving through the court, kind of a slash. Because it's on the baseliners in a hurry, and it really never allows them to feel comfortable. Case in point, like that one from Tommy G there, just.
And right now, right, Gregurovic and Ostojic have, okay, and there's the switch. I was going to ask you, they're avoiding the middle of the court, trying to avoid Christian's forehand and Nunez's forehand, but now with the switch, we're going to see them likely play the middle of the court much more frequently.
The door, Christian went hard into that side screen and knocked the door off the hinges. Call that there.
All right, 40-30, 40-30.
Mike, I'm not strong enough or fast enough to probably do that myself, so that's an impressive feat as it is for him to open the door just running into it.
And I think one of the things, Brian, that, as we kind of are talking about the four players on the court, and some of the top players, these four included, historically it's been a learning curve where, it takes 2-3 years to kind of figure the game out and really compete at the high level. But you see, obviously Regalado, Salazar, but Nunez, and even, Tommy and Tin here, it's not like they're veterans of the game. They've been playing for a couple of years, but it's really it's pretty amazing to me to see how well these tennis talents are able to and have grasped the game and the subtleties of the game so quickly.
You and I have been playing paddle for a long time, and it's always somewhat comical, right, to see these guys, play for a year or two or three, and we see the same on the women's game, right? And they know all the nuances already, right? It doesn't take them 10 years to learn it. They're able to pick it up very quickly.
Yeah. There's the ball we were talking about.
Advantage, Christian Nunez.
And just with that little extra moisture on the court, it's skidding even more than it already would. I mean, that is absolutely the winning formula, I think, for both teams at net, to be able to just let the ball drop and really spin it into these corners.
Here's that two-hander I was talking about.
Game, Christian Nunez. They lead 1-0, first set.
And I think, it's kind of the keys to victory here for Ostojic and Gregurovic. If they are to, win this match, I think the ability to kind of really temper when they hit their offense and how big they hit it is going to be huge. It's not a question of whether they can hit these shots; it's when they're choosing to hit and how big are they going. And we saw that last backhand, just kind of a little bit too much noise on it. Hit it too hard.
And I'm curious what their strategy will be at net, right? Is it going to be, let's go down the middle and avoid danger, or are they going to say, hey, let's step up and take the challenge? Knowing these guys' skills and knowing, their mental psyche, I think they're going to say, hey, we're going to beat you with our best shots and not worry as much about yours.
Yeah.
30-love.
So Ostojic serving up 30-love, and the first 2 points of this game were about a fraction of what the other points were that last game, Mike.
And Christian, he is kind of the style of player that is much more patient, more plodding when he plays. I mean, it's not that he doesn't have offense, but he's very selective, with the shots that he will hit. And, I think Nunez, Ostojic, and Gregurovic all kind of are a little bit more of that kind of, they're going to bring it the first chance that they get. And I wouldn't say that the middle right now, you saw Nunez's two-handed backhand. There it is again.
Yeah, I would not say that's safe necessarily, Mike. That thing was a missile right down the line. They better figure that one out and not go there.
Yeah, I would say would start testing here Christian's two-hander. I mean, just knowing that he'll be a little less, quick to pull the trigger.
And look how far Nunez is over already, right? He wants action.
Yeah,
he wants to see the ball.
And we saw that last year when he won the Nationals with Powers. He loves, like you said, he loves that action. You'll see his positioning. He'll almost bait you to hit to him by creeping up in the court, creeping over to that center. And it's really impressive to see his, short hop, little half volley, probing drives, and half volley lobs.
I actually was able to play him earlier in the year, and you're absolutely right. With the probing drives, it's not to win the point, but if you hit a volley, let's say at the service line, he's ready to hit the next ball, the next ball, the next ball, and force you to miss. Right? He's being very selective, high over the net margin-wise, and saying, okay, hit a really good volley every time, and if you don't, I'm going to be there to end the point. And that's the shot, Mike, that you said. Let's test out Tomas Christian's backhand and see if he can do some damage with it.
It'll be something to look forward to is kind of the lob scheme for Christian and Nunez in the backcourt. We've seen, wow, that was
That was
pretty athletic move.
unbelievable.
But where is Christian going to be lobbing the ball to create offense? Because you can basically, with lob placement, you can direct or redirect where they hit their overheads. Their high percentage overheads. So, if he's lobbing down the line,
Ostojic, we're tied 1-1 first set.
that's forcing, Ostojic to hit that ball into Nunez, because we all know that down the line overhead is a low percentage play.
And I'd say in those first two games when they were in the backcourt, Christian probably hit 90% of his lobs down the line, looking to get Nunez into the action.
Yeah. And I think also looking at their scheme, at the net for Christian and Nunez, can they, how are they going to choose to play this? Are they going to work one side as opposed to the other, or one player as opposed to the other?
Yeah, and I think no, Mike, which is, again, if you're, a paddle fan and play yourself, you're probably thinking, well, maybe that's dumb, right? Why wouldn't you do that? But I think they're playing it right. If Tomas Christian gets an overhead, he's being very safe down the middle, and you're going to let Nunez, when in doubt, hit it to the forehand side because he's a lefty with more spin, and then end the point going at the ad man, right? Going right now at Ostojic. So
yeah. Right there, case in point, right?
Yep, and then
slider. Now goes back to work into the deuce corner.
And Mike, we see Nunez switching between hitting, lefty spin and rollers. What's the benefit of him hitting a roller in general?
I think it's a really good question. It doesn't allow the players in the backcourt to feel comfortable. And really that's the bottom line when we're playing. We don't want to allow the backcourt players to feel comfortable and really start to dictate with their lob placement. So he's forcing them to react a little bit more. You also notice that he's changing kind of not only location with his overhead, but even the spin overheads. He's changing pace. And it's a good lesson for everybody at home. The same overhead, if you change spin and then start changing pace, you've got 3-4 different overheads that can be hit to the same location.
And the last 2 points, right? Gregurovic got the play he wanted, right? He's in blitzing. It just so happens he's playing against, Guy Nunez, who has great hands, and Tomas Christian, who also has great hands, right? I mean,
yeah.
40 love.
That's beating 97% of players. Just not these two today, I guess.
Well, we'll see, because I think that Nunez and Christian,
Nunez, they lead 2-1 first set.
They almost are, they want that engagement. They want them to bring it and bring, whether it's in the blitz or hitting the two-hander, but they, I think they thrive, and I know Nunez does at the net. I mean, the more, hand-to-hand combat that he gets in, that's where, in my opinion, he's at, the top of the class, is the ability to kind of absorb that engagement.
I couldn't agree more. And that's what led him to be up 2-1 early in the first set here, with Gregurovic, I believe, prepared to serve. And Mike, the court seems to be still drying up a bit, right? It looks like that middle of the court is still
it's a little different color.
Yep.
There's a little switch at the net. And why do you think they're making that switch? They're two righties. Why would they make that switch, Brian?
Yeah, I think they're switching because they like Tin's variety or Stojic's variety on his overheads. You know, he has a little more action up top, and his roller is very heavy. So that would be my best guess. Also, we've seen Gregurovic really likes to get into those hand-to-hand exchanges. A little easier to do that when you can kind of just stand on top of the net and not have to worry about backing up and hitting volleys. Yep, you see him move to the middle of the court there. He's wanting that overhead to be driven so that he can just stuff it right back.
Some good lobs you see here. This is where Christian, you know, that's his jam, so to speak, you know, is really working the lob placement.
Yep, and you saw him miss 2 balls, and then he does that, right?
He can still bring out the hammer too, so they can't sleep on him.
No, and, you know, he's made 2 errors this game, and they could be the only 2 errors he makes in the set, right? You know, as you said earlier, he's kind of the rock of this team right now, right? Let Nunez swing at all the big stuff. Let him, for lack of a better term, chop the ball, make those moves.
Great.
Oh, he's there.
The tweener, followed by a drop shot and a great get.
You and I could have gotten that on 6 bounces, right, Mike?
That's right. You know, and you notice those last 2 overheads that Christian hit. It's kind of the
Oh, he went around.
I think he missed it wide.
Honestly, guys, it was right underneath me. I didn't see it.
Let's see if we can see it on the replay here.
Couldn't see it. I tried to get over.
Oh,
Mike,
tough
that's really
call.
close. Yeah, that's really close. Christian disagreed. Oh.
Tommy.
Hey, Tommy, nobody says anything when we don't make a call.
Okay. No, but just saying.
Stop commenting to everybody.
Hello, I'm saying stop commenting. He's just making
I
shit
know,
up.
but...
So making
All right,
shit up.
let's play.
And people forget, Mike, that these guys are athletes and want to win just as bad as anybody, right? And are fiery to do say, hey, you know, Gregurovic wasn't, I'm going to use the word, wasn't happy that maybe there was some questioning of the calls, but I don't know if you heard Nunez. He said, hey, you know, Tommy, it's fine. Let's get back into it.
And, you know, I think that's what makes the sport so great in so many respects is, you know, there is, you know, that level of, well, it's great get from Ostojic there. There's that level of, you know, we're all out to compete, but at the end of the day, it's, you know, I don't know. There just is such a nice, for the most part, a nice competitive level that rarely gets negative. Oh,
and that's such a good volley. Unbelievable. And that's my experience too, Mike. I've played a lot of paddle and, you know, different places, and, you know, pretty much everyone I meet is nice. That's an unbelievably great volley to hold. And on serve here, 2-2.
Love.
Playing on a clay court.
Yeah, those shoes are not lasting long with the slip and sliding out there.
I go on switch here.
And with the lefty-righty team, Mike, as you can hear, a lot of talk at the net, right? Talking through, okay, who's hitting the overhead? Me, you. Playing with a lefty has a lot of benefits, but that is maybe one of the negatives, is you have to over-communicate to make sure you guys are not getting in the way of each other.
It's a great point. And they, because you do have the two forehands in the center. And I think that's why it's important to have nice little lob from the midcourt and just a bail. But I think you need to define, especially with the righty-lefty, what's their scheme up at the net. The sum of your parts should be greater than the whole if you've got a righty-lefty team. But if you're fighting over the same balls, that really kind of weakens the team. Wow.
And that is just a great play, right? Nunez had a great lefty spin to the ad, and Ostojic was right there to help his partner and just open up the court a little bit for him.
What I liked about that was the speed of the drive. He didn't nuke it. He used a little bit more spin, took some pace off of it, and was able to force Nunez to play the ball, from his shoe tops.
30-15.
And there's the commentator's curse. After I say that, he ends up nuking that one into the back screen.
And we've seen that play twice now from Gregurovic. I'd be interested to see if Christian on one of these will fake a close or if we'll fully close and try to stuff him after he's now rushed the net 2 of 3 points here early in the 5th game.
40-15.
Great overhead.
That is something else, Mike. I wish I had that.
I think there's a lot of people that are in that same boat. Wow.
Game, Christian Nunez. They lead 3-2, first set.
And with that, Mike, that brings us to volley. If you want to learn how to hit those overheads, the volley machine is the right for you. Did you know that volley has thrown 5 million balls to players working on their game? Don't get left behind. Get your reps in with volley. Whether it's day or night, you're in control of your training. Volley offers world-class training in demand, helping you sharpen your skills and level up your game whenever it fits your schedule. Ready to join the movement and hit overheads like that? Start training smarter with volley today.
So is volley now saying that we can get your overhead to be like Guillermo Nunez?
Well, if you hit enough of them, it might get somewhere close.
Okay.
That is what I would say. And it's something that, again, I'm not a teaching professional, but I remind myself and others constantly is, if you grew up playing tennis, you may have hit a couple thousand serves, right, and a couple thousand volleys, and you don't really practice. A lot of people don't practice and work on their serve and work on that stuff, and volley is a great solution for that to really focus on that element of it.
Yeah, we had got one at Exmoor Country Club this year. Boy, and you see that move right there, that is, I think if you're going to, you must avoid Nunez's, him coming up that sideline. And have you seen him, affect the first 2 points here, hit 2 winners off of it.
15-30.
But it is such a hard thing to that discipline to say, okay, because normally with a righty playing the ad side, they're just simply hitting, that's hitting into a backhand.
That would be your bail spot, right?
Yeah. Or it's a very safe play to get the ball to the side screen. But when he's coming in and cheating up that side, with a forehand, that's problematic.
Problematic, less than optimal. A lot of a lot of problems going on over there.
Yeah. See Christian just probing that just easy little roll drive. Yeah.
15-40.
And that's just an unbelievable ball from Nunez to go, down the line. Ostojic has to pinch middle, right, because he's in the
Yeah.
middle of the court, and just too good. And that, to me, Mike, is the overhead you need to hit. With spin, go to Nunez's backhand, because he's guessing middle or he's guessing side screen, right? That ball, he's not looking to drive that. He's only looking to lob, and that's the one he's looking to drive.
Yeah, and that ball laid up, and there's our.
4-2, first set.
I mean, there's the brilliance of Nunez. He cheated up on the side screen twice, won those 2 points, and then he just it took over that game basically from the backcourt, which is pretty impressive.
It's a new ball, guys. New ball.
Mike, you don't hear people talking like in tennis of, oh, I hit 12 winners and 4 losers. I really only hear, oh, I hit 15, had 10 errors, right? You don't really hit
Right.
winners in this game. I think he had 4 winners in that last game, right? So that just shows,
Yes.
right, how talented and good he is.
I can just give you a new one. It's only been 1 point.
Would they have one fly the coop?
I believe so, and they're looking for a new ball.
And you also you've got to look at the timing of his, him taking over that previous game. They're kind of holding serve, trading holds a serve, and then here it is. He's like, okay, it's go time. Up 3-2, and now they have the break. And breaks are much more valuable the poorer the weather, because it's just so much harder to break serve. And we'll see if he gets as aggressive here when they're in the backcourt.
And the other thing to mention, right, I think Nunez had 4 winners and 1 loser that last game, or 1 error that last game. Christian had 0, right? Which,
Right.
again, it may not be the, I'm going to use the word attractive, play, but that's absolutely what he should be doing as a partner. If you're both trying to hit winners and take risk on, you better both be on that day. Otherwise, you could be in trouble, right, making errors.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I think, what makes a great partnership is everybody has got a defined role, and here we've got kind of a counter puncher and a setup person with Tomas Christian, and then Nunez is kind of the heavy hitter. And I think that always makes a great partnership. And, we don't have 2 alpha dogs necessarily.
And you said this earlier, that doesn't mean Christian can't hit those shots, right? He can hit
Right.
all those shots for the viewers at home, right? This guy has them all. It's just a matter of, let me holster. That's an unbelievable get. Let me just holster those so my partner can do his thing, and I'll be steady Eddie for him.
Tough leg cord.
Yep, and that's the right play.
Yeah.
It's absolutely the right ball. Just unlucky that he hit the net cord.
And that's
So, Mike,
to further your point there, I think that, when you're gauging you can't gauge, your decision making based on necessarily the outcome of the point. It really is. You have to be committed to the process of waiting for the right ball to hit.
And I was going to ask you what the difference is in the last 3 games, right? I think part of it is Nunez is hitting winners, Christian's not hitting losers, right? And I think just some unlucky breaks, right? On that shot example that bring us to 5-2 rather quickly, right? In kind of blink of an eye in this first set.
Yeah. Well, and I think that when you're, and I think that Ostojic and Gregurovic, they fall into this style of their style of play is much more kind of offensive, bring in the shot making, and I think that you live and die on that. And can they sustain? That's the problem is it sustainable when you're having errors? And it's like they can run white hot. And I mean, you look at the talent, but then Nunez, they make a mistake to put the ball in the wrong spot. Here comes Guillermo Nunez to make your day a living problem.
Yes. And, look, would it shock me if Gregurovic and Ostojic make it to the quarters of nationals? No, it would not, right? We saw how good they played at Charities, making it to the semifinals. They are, I believe, 14th right now, ranked as a team. 13th ranked, maybe, something like that. So they are going to be as tough as anybody to get out. It's just a matter of, again, when they run hot, they burn, right? They're as good as anybody out there.
And I think the best, you look at that next tier up. I mean, they're knocking on the doors of being, like you said, not surprised that they're, the 3rd seed here, and they'll be a top 16 seed at nationals. But the difference between a 12 to 16 seed and a 1 to 4 seed is that the 1 to 4 seeds just have that little extra layer. It's so subtle, but they're able to win when they're not playing their best, and they're able to change and make adjustments kind of better than, the rest of us.
And a lot of that comes with time, right? As you mentioned when we started the broadcast, is you got to be in these moments a few times to then be ready to jump on them. And a lot of these guys have played each other 15, 20, 30 times. And I think some of that just comes with experience. And that's just an unbelievable rip there from
Nunez. And I would almost say that maybe they, that's a confidence in, Tommy G having the confidence to be like, I can make this volley. But if it's a 50-50 ball, he should let that go through when it's being torched like that. So if I were coaching this team, I'd say, all right, when Nunez does unload, the weather isn't so cold, so poor that you can't just transition off the net, and rather than trying to make the perfect volley.
And I use the word margin, Mike, where if it's the right shot and maybe you're not feeling it, don't drive it 100% an inch over the net, right? Maybe add a little topspin or and then feel it out. And that's a big game for them to get here, to get to 5-3.
Wow, he tattooed that. See, and I'd love to see another, just from a coach's perspective, when Ostojic is loading up on that forehand, let's get him hitting it, stepping into the court just a little bit more.
So instead of being the green, right, being the blue?
Yeah. like if he's got just one step sooner, that he's stealing time and distance from Christian and Nunez to react to that. So it just makes that forehand that much bigger. Or he just hits the leg cord.
And but that's set up by them switching, right?
Mm-hmm.
And unlucky, right? Or no, he did get it. Is they're switching the backcourt to get Ostojic's forehand, because that has been probably the biggest offensive ball on that side of the court we've seen so far.
Boy, another good drive. They're not going away, are they?
No, and look, I wouldn't expect them to. They're a top team in the country, and like we said, right, they may have more ups and downs than other teams, but they're really, really good. And like we're seeing here, smart shot selection and hitting their spots, and they have a chance to break here to get to 4-5.
I think so Ostojic and Gregurovic were teammates at Wichita State. So they go way back. I believe they were friends from Croatia as well.
That always helps on a partnership.
Yeah.
And that's, again, the Guillermo Nunez lefty spin, very hard to control. And especially, I think that side of the court, right, Mike, is still a little wet, so you're getting a little more action on these overheads than you may otherwise.
Well, and people are like, well, how can he? Oh,
no, that's
nice little
great.
Dropper.
Great read.
Yeah, and that missed overhead from Gregorovich was completely off of the spin off of his paddle. It just carried it wide. But takes us back to 30 all here. If you're just joining us, I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Brian Fagg here in the semifinals of the Steel City Classic. The semifinal match between our number 2 seeds of Tomas Christian and Guillermo Nunez against Tin Ostojic and Tommy Gregurovic on the far side at the net. Boy, I was looking at the draw. This is a deep tournament, of the 32 teams.
30-40.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of places to hide.
I was thinking the same thing, Mike. I love to play in these tournaments, and, I looked at this draw, and I'm like, glad I'm commentating versus playing. And that's the ball, Mike, you were just talking about, right? As the coach, probably not the right shot selection.
Yeah.
And does he have that shot? Wouldn't surprise me, right? Of course he does. But it's just the percentage. If it goes over the net, are they still volleying it? Probably, right? Just how good those guys' hands are.
Yeah, and you always want to drive on your terms, meaning you're able to step into the court, and there you see a Nunez. I mean, that's
too good.
Just too good. Boy, if that is game.
Nunez, they win the first set 6-3.
And so we'll be right back in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by Joho.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Fox Chapel Racket Club in Pittsburgh, PA, with this semifinal match between Gregurovic and Ostojic and Tomas Christian and Guillermo Nunez. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Brian Fagg. Again, a semifinal showdown between our number 2 seed and our number 3 seed. A pretty good first set. Luckily, our weather hasn't truly affected play that much. And I think it went similar. It kind of went as I would have expected in that first set.
Totally agree, Mike, right? We saw Gregurovic and Ostojic get their shots, right? They can make shots all over the court. They got their shots, and a lot of them worked out. The problem is that they're playing against Tomas Christian, who is a rock, right? He doesn't make many errors. And Guy Nunez, who turns nothing into something. And when they're at net, his overheads are a real issue. They cause havoc up there. So it'll be curious to see what adjustments Gregurovic and Ostojic can make to bring home a second set and bring us to a third. And
do you have, does anything jump out at you, Brian, that you feel like they could, an easy change? Easy adjustments?
I would just force Tomas Christian to beat you. I would say you do not want to just give Nunez balls. I would somewhat freeze him out and then go to his corner and maybe bait him, right? See if you can get some errors that way. You might not break down Christian, right? I doubt it because he's very steady, but you may get errors on the other end. Instead, right now, I feel like Nunez is kind of in a groove, right, where he's hitting a lot of points or shots every point, and you're letting him overly create. Just like that, right? You give him 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 overheads in a row, he's going to do something. I wouldn't mind more probe drives just to kind of change it up and maybe keep the ball out of the air when they're in the backcourt also.
How about just hitting more serves like that?
Yeah, I was going to say, or do that every time, right? That would be helpful. And those are the overheads I would, and they got that error, right? I think that's a quick game for them. Probably not the spot they were going for, Mike, but you got the error, right? If you go there, he's going to swing, and I think if you know that ahead of time, it's going to be helpful. So I would just go to Tomas Christian's backhand, maybe try to surprise Nunez or go at him, because similar to Christian's other partner, Drew Broderick, if you're hitting an overhead, he's not going to be where he is currently after you hit it, right? He's always moving.
I just missed that long. Yeah, Nunez is putting just so much pressure on the backcourt team, and he's really feeling that spin overhead.
Yeah, the way to kind of circumnavigate that would be to lob over his right shoulder, right? Because he wants to come across his body to be able to hit that. So if you see when he's hitting his most dangerous overheads is actually when he's on Tomas Christian's side of the court. So it's almost counterintuitive, but I would lob cross court. Oh, and that's an unbelievably great shot by Ostojic there, extending all the way to hit a forehand.
How about the one-hander? Did you see the one-hander earlier in that point?
Goodness. How could I forget it? You don't see that very much these days.
No.
And that is just so good of Nunez to drop it. Again, weather's not great there. These guys are uncomfortable. We're already seeing sliding, right? That it's very smart strategy to drop shot with some wetness on the court.
Well, and you also, to your point, you were saying, well, I'd like to see maybe some more probing drives. The problem is that if they're probing and Nunez gets an opportunity to step forward like that and drop, he turns that probing drive into an absolute point ender in his favor.
And to that point, That's what you call adjustments. That was a poor call by me. I would not do it again, to your point, right? They've probed
Yeah,
twice.
I mean,
he's done it
so
twice.
again, it's a little cat and mouse that, if you're trying different things, and if they're not bearing fruit, it's like, okay, let's move on.
And coaching question for you. So, right, I said to probe, and they've done that maybe 2 points in a row and lost both. At what point do you stop doing that? Is it 5 shots? Is it 3 shots? Or is it just a feel thing where you go, okay, that is just not going to work, even if it's only 1 or 2 shots? Let's do something else.
Yeah, I think, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Or sorry, flip that around. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Oh, what good hands. Oh, that's a great point. And big celebration.
Point of the match right there. Wow.
40-30.
And that's where they're working so hard to win points, and they're winning the great points. But, the match is won and lost, not in the great points. The match is won and lost in the trenches. It's the grind.
I was just going to say that to you. It's not about winning these long ones, right? I mean, those are usually the ones that are important. But all of a sudden, if you win a long point, you can't fault twice, right? You can't miss a lob long. Those are the ones. The great teams don't do that, right? You commentated the 5.5 or 5 hour match last weekend, right? Those guys gave each other nothing, and that's usually how you win.
We're tied 1-1, second set.
That's a great hold by Nunez after having 30 all.
Love.
Check his temperature. He missed one.
Yep, but I like what Gregurovic did, right? He didn't run in. He fed the beast and he stayed back. Hey, did it say it? Oh, good try on the tweener. But yeah, don't rush in if you know that you're going to be under siege. Don't go in, right? That's where you have the beauty of a screen.
15-30.
Good volley.
And Mike, this would be where maybe I would say, let's go right? Let's change something up because, to your point, his serve is getting hit and his hands are so good. That's not admitting defeat, right? That's just altering to say, okay, Christian hit a forehand down the line, right? We've seen him hammering across court. Maybe make it go down the line and then he can hit a backhand redrive.
I mean, it's tough to say this early in the second set that this is a big. I mean, this game is bigger for Ostojic and Gregurovic than it is for Nunez and Christian. They need to stay. They need to keep this tight, and that'll go a long way to keeping this thing tight. What a great cutter.
Mike, I was thinking to myself, is this a must-win game? And I thought that sounds crazy this early, but you nailed it. Maybe not must-win, but it's extremely important to keep it tight, right? And then maybe you get some loose errors, and all of a sudden you get some leads, right? They can't be the one to give up anything here.
Yeah, and because Nunez as a front runner with a partner like Christian, when he's just kind of, he's doing his thing. When you get a Nunez that is freewheeling and kind of playing with the house's money, that's a tough combination to to overcome.
And I really like this overhead combination that they're doing, right? They're going to Christian's backhand. They're hitting it harder to Nunez's side screen so he can't jump it. They're hitting more righty spin into the second panel. And they're hitting rollers at Nunez, which this is probably one of the first points, now I say it, that Nunez wasn't taking over. and he almost had it there.
Ostojic. Game, Gregurovic
Good hold.
Ostojic. They lead 2-1, second set. Christian Nunez won the first 6-3.
And you saw the Ostojic head nod, right? As he's drinking some water to his partner saying, hey, let's go. We're going to win this, baby. Let's do it.
This will be the 7th. Yeah, we played 6.
Chair umpire Mike Chimsky. He's not only have to keep the score, call the lines, but he's got to pay attention to how many games they played before they get their new ball. It's a lot going on up there in the chair.
I was going to say, he's a much better man than I am. My brain would probably be fried trying to remember all that. Not to mention it's rainy and cold, and he's sitting up there. Shout out to all the umps. And that's just a really smart drive.
Yeah.
Like you said earlier, that's the spot, maybe, right?
So in that, yeah, and I love that, back to that probing drive idea. Nunez was kind of hanging off the court, off the net. That'd be the only time I would do that. Some good little spin from Christian there. Draws a lob error.
Down 15-30 here.
Yeah, I love that overhead where Nunez is moving to his left with that lefty cut, and he's going into Tommy G's right hip, with the heavy slash. It really handcuffs him.
It handcuffs because you're so against the spin, right? You have to either lob it down the line on a short volley, or if you let it go, you're getting out of the way to the right, and then it spins back to the other way, right? So
Yeah,
it's such a hard shot. Yeah, exactly. And what a great heavy serve by Christian on break point to get back.
And you notice how you're starting to see the serves where they're going after the serves a little more, and that's truly an indication that the ball, doesn't have all the moisture, so they're able to, aggressively spin it.
Right. And I like the swing by Ostojic there, but Mike, you said it earlier, maybe just a step up slightly.
Yes, half step makes a huge difference.
The good news with me commentating with you is you're the coach, so you can actually give advice. I just give everyone unwarranted advice.
Boy, that ball is moving 15 feet off the back screen with all that spin. Careful. Careful. You got away with one there.
I was going to say, that's not a, I'm going to say winning formula shot, but that's coming back to, again, they played a great point, and Nunez didn't have a lot of balls to swing at, and he finally gets one, right? And do I think he'll miss that frequently? Of course not. But is it better for him, to only have one swing out of 50 versus being able to swing at 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Advantage, Christian Nunez.
And next time the camera shows Nunez's paddle, please take a look, because the amount of yellow on that paddle from the ball is comical, and he's getting all of the stuff off that ball with all the spin he's hitting.
Game, Christian Nunez. We're tied 2-all, second set. I get a new ball, guys.
And we see Ostojic and Gregurovic, they're knocking on the door. They're getting 15-30, love 30 game, and we just need them to. Oh, there's your close up.
There's the paddle, right? You see that thing covered in the yellow fuzz.
Assaulting the umpire. 2-all.
And Mike, we're kind of back to where we started in the first set, right? 2-all.
Yeah.
We're going to see if, again, as you just said, Gregurovic and Ostojic were knocking on the door, right? This could easily be 4-0, them.
Oh.
And that was an unintentional peg.
Unintentional peg. But ball was still live when it hit Christian, so lost a point. Nunez hit a great spot there up in the chicken wing volley.
And that's just how good these guys are, right? I think that overhead missed its spot by maybe a foot, right? If it's a foot to his right, he's probably not getting that swing. It's these guys are so talented and good. It's those small things that, lead to win and lose. Oh, that's great hands up in net. Oh, and he misses the easy one, and some frustration from Gregurovic. Relatable, Mike, yeah?
Yeah, I could absolutely feel for him. Nice little cover there from Christian.
Switch back quickly.
Seeing like those two drives, all Nunez is looking for is something, a short volley that he can attack.
30-40.
Good patience there from Ostojic and Gregurovic to bite off one break point.
And that's an unbelievable return off of an incredible serve.
Second set.
So, Mike, wanted to talk about one of our sponsors, Corient. Corient is the official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 2024-2025 season. Corient is a fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at Corient.com.
So while we have a moment here, Brian, I want to mention that we've got the Nationals, our season-ending primetime event, first weekend of March, and they've changed the format just slightly. They've adjusted, and they start play on Thursday now, and with everything culminating on Saturday night, which is, I think, a great shift. It really is going to highlight the best of the game, probably with the biggest crowds. Philadelphia Cricket Club is the host site. Bruce Redpath, that's the tournament director. It'll end up being a great weekend of paddle. With its slightly different flavor in that the big matches are going to be played, Saturday night with the finals of both the men and the women.
And that starts Thursday, Mike, right?
Starting
Start the day
Thursday,
early?
yes. They're starting a day early and then finishing basically, unless we get some weather coming in where they have to extend it to Sunday morning. But definitely be a great Super Saturday, as they used to call the U.S. Open. Remember when they had women's semis and the men's semis, women's finals, all on that Saturday? It's probably before your time.
Super Saturday, Manic Monday, something like that.
Yeah, sure.
And that is just us. Again, Nunez had him up at net, and Gregurovic hit some great volleys, and maybe that one's just a little bit pressing. But I would never tell Nunez to not swing at one because of how good that is. And that's taking us to 15-40 here for 3-all, Mike.
Yeah, to get the break right back. You notice where Nunez was there? He was right on top of the net, I think, looking to drop that had it come over.
He almost had a leg over the other side of the net, I think, in preparation.
And missed lob brings us right back to deuce.
Those 2 points are what we talked about, right? They played 4 exceptional points to get them the 2 shots, and maybe a lackadaisical lob, potentially. Right, one for at least for these guys, maybe not for me, for these guys, and all the hard work. Now they have to refight for it to get this 5th game here or 6th game here.
Advantage, Christian Nunez.
And again, the Vegas isn't built on
Christian Nunez, they
the
lead
casino.
4 games to 2, second set.
The casino they're winning on the percentages. They're not winning. And I think that if you were to look at the score line here, we're talking a point here, a point there, that Nunez and Christian are winning. And they're probably split on the great points, where each, they're sharing those, but they're getting more freebies. Wow.
Great hands by Ostojic and Gregurovic. I agree. The ones in the trenches, right? The occasional miss lob, right? You're just not seeing that from Christian Nunez, but you are seeing that from Gregurovic and Ostojic.
40 love.
Quick game here. Yep, quick game here.
Miss lob long, the drive in the net from Nunez.
God, and he comes back and hits a Mach 90 forehand.
Game, Gregurovic, Ostojic. Christian Nunez lead 4 games to 3, second set. Christian Nunez won the first, 6-3.
Another huge tournament. It might be even bigger than the Nationals. This is the team national tournament. The men's tournament is hosted at yours truly at Exmoor Country Club and the surrounding clubs in the Chicago area. And the women are traveling out to New Jersey. That's the first weekend in April. And there's still space, I believe, on the men's side. The women were getting close to full capacity. But anybody out there, grab 5, 6 of your friends, similar PTIs, come to Chicago for a great weekend of play. You ought to get a team together for that, Brian. Are you playing?
I'll be there. I'm going to. I've been working on the guys. I'm clearly not that likable. I need to ask more people. But I will be playing, and my fiance is playing in New Jersey. So we're both playing that weekend. Yeah, it's a great event. I played 2 years ago at Exmoor. You guys do a great job hosting. A lot of fun. And again, the paddle community, whether in Chicago, where I live now, Cincinnati, where I lived before, or New Jersey, where I grew up, right? Everybody's really fun and good guys. So why not test yourself against some of, the other countries' levels that are like yours, right? You said it's similar PTIs playing against each other.
And were you part of the winning team 2 years ago?
I was not. I was on the other Chicago team.
Okay.
So, I will say we might have not won, but we might have had more fun. So.
Yeah. Wow, nice play from Nunez with the little chip and then the blitz in behind it.
$15.30.
We're gonna blame the sun on that one.
Yep.
See if they get switched in the backcourt.
Yeah, we have not seen that in the second set, Mike. I thought it actually was fairly successful, but you're seeing Ostojic really start to feel good about his redirect offense off of those Nunez overheads.
And this is the point that we've seen Ostojic and Gregurovic. I mean, they've been multiple break points. They just haven't been able to kind of crack the code, so to speak.
Yeah, this is where good, maybe not good, I'm going to say great or the top of the game teams, they go, I'm going to close this out with minimal to no errors and hit my spots and let the other team blow it, right?
Yeah,
This is that time where, as you said, they've had a lot of chances. They're up 40-15 here, and there it is, right?
There we go.
Huge game for them. There we go.
We're tied 4-all. Second set.
Boy.
That's not the volley you want to live with, right? I mean, Ostojic hit it just, absurd volley. Yep, and we see that again. He even guessed right? He's shifting down the line. That ball just gets on you quickly because the time from and space is only about, 10 or 15 feet away? Hard to react that quickly.
Yeah, and that, with Nunez, when he's moving up into the court, if you think of the distance being from the baseline or from the back screen to the net is 30 feet. Well, if he's hitting 2 steps inside of the service or baseline, like you said, they might have 15 feet of reaction space to try to read that ball. And then you couple it with a nice tattooed speed. Good little dropper from Tommy G there.
Great hands, but again, it's they may say we are okay with him swinging because we're going to volley it. I don't have that good of hands, so my brain goes I should be going safe spots, right, and force Nunez to overcompensate. But I don't know if you agree with that, Mike. But it seems like they're not really caring, where the danger zones are. They're just hitting their spots, right?
Yeah. And, you kind of live by the sword, you die by the sword there. They've got to, they also thrive in that engagement, but when you're getting outgunned, you need to make an adjustment.
Great serve by Ostojic. And that's the overhead I really like, Mike. It's the safest ball you can have going to Nunez.
That third panel slam.
Third panel smash.
Hard into the side screen. Oh, good
Absolutely.
drive from Christian.
Game, Gregurovic, Ostojic. They lead 5-4, second set. Christian Nunez won the first, 6-3.
Boy, and I would say, we've seen a little bit of a decline in the execution from Nunez. A few uncharacteristic misses. And, Gregurovic and Ostojic have capitalized. A little bit of momentum swing here.
Couldn't agree more. He was, and I'm going to use this word, I don't use it lightly, sensational in that first set with his shot creation, right? And we said it earlier, he had 4 winners in a game, right? You don't see that often. And since then, there's been a few too many errors creeping in, and that's a great move from Gregurovic, coming in where he sees Nunez maybe slightly out of position to hit a volley.
Love 30.
Mike, that's an overhead that I hit normally.
I've got that
We don't
shot.
see that much. And we might see Nunez just playing for the third set here. I'm going to be curious what his first ball is up at net's going to be.
Okay, that takes us to going 3.
Bonus paddle for us.
Yes, we'll be right back. In just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by Joho.
I'm good. Thanks, Ron.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
At Volley, we build tools to unlock your potential. The new Volley PTI feature breaks down your game like never before. Ever wondered, which partner has impacted my PTI the most? What's our win percentage as the favorite or underdog? Do I perform differently in 2 or 3 set matches? Now, it's all at your fingertips. The PTI tool is free to everyone. Download the Volley app today and level up your game. We'll see you on the court.
Who is the player with the best serve?
Best serve. We're going to go Tyler Frazier.
Best serve, Fraser.
Sven Burus.
Well, I just had to deal with Sven Burus, so he's definitely up there.
Player with the best cutter?
Guillermo Nunez or Johan Durant.
My partner, Eric West.
Tyler Frazier, without a doubt.
Dan Hansen.
Guillermo Nunez. I gotta say Dan Hansen's is just filthy.
Best roller?
Either Alvi or Jose.
I'm gonna pick my own boy Russell Benkham on that one.
Johan Durant.
Jose Salazar.
Jose Salazar.
Myself.
Best drive?
Alvi Regalado.
Jose Salazar.
Mark Powers.
I like runs in there.
Mike Wagner, backhand. Johan, forehand.
Best drive. Johan Durant.
Best blitz?
Philippe Rams.
Philippe.
Alvi.
Johan Durant.
Probably Guille or McNerney.
Guille.
Guillermo Nunez.
Me.
Best volley?
Durant.
Johan. Alvi.
Guillermo Nunez.
Guillermo Nunez.
Guillermo Nunez.
Powers. I think it's one of the best on all of them. Mark Powers' volley's unbelievable. I don't think he gets enough credit for how good of a volley he is.
Best overhead?
Guille. I mean, we got to go with Guy Nunez on that one. Powers. Juan Araya.
Tyler Frazier.
Johan Durant.
Durant.
And best competitor?
Adam Morgan.
Adam Morgan.
Me.
Mark Powers.
I think I'm going to give that one to Guy Nunez too.
Alvi.
I'm going to put myself on that one.
And welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Fox Chapel Racket Club in Pittsburgh, PA, with this semifinal match between Gregurovic and Ostojic against Christian and Nunez, and we are locked dead even at a set apiece. I'm Mike Raleigh alongside Brian Fagg here. Brian, welcome back for the 3rd set.
Whew. Mike, happy to be here.
It's just what we wanted, right?
Bonus paddle, and when you have these two good of teams, right? As you said, it's a point here and there, and that's kind of what we saw in the 1st and 2nd set, right?
Yeah, and I'd say, I think the Ostojic and Gregurovic, they played really well late in that 2nd set, and we just saw a little bit of a slide from Nunez. I'd expect that he tightens this right back up.
Totally. So for those I'm sorry, Mike, cut you off. No,
Go ahead.
Good. I was going to just reintroduce the players for those who might have just tuned in. Right now, hitting the ball in the blue would be Gregurovic, and his partner in the all-black would be Tina Ostojic. On the far side of the court, hitting the ball right now in the white short-sleeve shirt, which, good for him in this weather, is Tomas Christian, and his partner in the orange and white vest would be Guillermo Nunez.
Love.
Boy, that was interesting that Nunez nor Christian, they both chose just to stay back after that drive through.
I was thinking the same thing. We've seen Nunez run to the net on pretty much any shot he can, and that was probably the easiest one he could on, right? But didn't matter. They won the point anyway.
Oh, you fake the dropper and then hit the waterfall. Good.
40-30.
Great Nunez cutter there. I tell you, Gregurovic is his little blitz I think has been a difference maker. Definitely in that second set.
One game to love, third set.
You know, he was pulling a Nunez on Nunez. Moving in and disrupting play.
And in the first set, I think he went, I'm going to say 0 for 4 on that, meaning, he did it 4 times and they lost all 4 points. I think in the second set, he might have been 5 for 6, right? We like those odds. And, you're seeing I think Nunez is not as comfortable as he was in that first set, right? Where he was chewing the ball, he's doing anything he wants. I think we're seeing, to your point, our 3 seed really settle in here.
Yeah, I like the maturity that they've shown, especially in late in that second set. They go down a break, down 2-4, and then they rip off 4 games in a row. That they could have easily packed the tent and been out of there, but boy, they battled and mentally have been able to really stay in it.
And I like that message on the back of Christian's shirt, right? What are you made for? Well, we're going to find out what these 4 guys are made of in this third set.
Love.
And Mike, question for you: when you play with lefties, and we're going to use this case as an example, what percentage do you think splitting of overhead should be, right? Because we know Nunez's overheads are superior, but that doesn't mean Tomas Christian's are bad by any stretch, right? So, do you think they should be changing percentages? Do you think percentages stay the same? What are you thinking?
I still I still think that. I mean, one thing that's factoring in now is Ostojic is doing a really good job in the deuce side on capitalizing. If Nunez misses his spot by a little bit, maybe hits that cutter too hard where it's coming off, he's doing a good job of tattooing that ball. Oh, this is...
Oh, and he just missed it. Good try.
That was a great touch. I mean, but I think to answer your question, I wouldn't change their percentages of Nunez, not hitting as many overheads. I really think that he's so dynamic with that overhead and could do so much damage that they've got to continue to ride that horse to the finish line. But maybe he might have to start taking more of those cutters into the ad side, into the right hip of Gregurovic.
Yep, that was a great shot, and I agree with that because Gregurovic is not offensively swinging at those balls, right? You said it earlier. Ostojic has made such great adjustments in the deuce, being able to find his offense under siege, right, from the Nunez overheads, and it's very hard to be offensive in the ad when that lefty spin's coming at you.
Yeah, and the other thing that's coming out of that offense from the deuce side is Tommy G's ability to step in and blitz. So by playing more balls through the ad side, they're kind of keeping, number one, they're avoiding the offense a little bit more, but they're also keeping Gregurovic back in the corner as opposed to him being able to blitz off of his partner's offense.
I think in some circles that's called a double whammy, Mike.
Yeah. Yeah.
15-30.
And those are the balls, for those tuning in. So really appreciate you all taking that first set. Those fat backhands in the middle. You're running the point, letting him in.
40.
And we see.
Nunez apologizing there to his partner. A little loose error. You notice how Christian is so measured with every shot he hits. There's a specific spot, specific intent. Very rarely makes a wrong decision.
And here, all four players, we know how crucial this point is.
Yeah, without even looking at the score, you can tell by the disciplined play that this is a big one.
And these are the types of points that separate, the best of the best versus, your maybe your good club player, right? Is they might have seen the ball they want to swing at 4 or 5 times now, but it's not the right shot selection at that point, right? Or both guys are on the net, or they're not missing that shot. This is where these guys are waiting for the absolute perfect ball to either end the point or completely change the dynamic.
Yeah, because if they have a drivable ball, but they don't have a space to put it because the net team is closed down, that's where they're choosing not to, they'll throw that lob up again because they don't have, they're not driving on their terms, and they're being, meaning they've got a spot, they're stepping into the court, and they've got a spot they can put it.
Yep, like that last one, Nunez thought about it on the backhand, but they're on the net, and he's on Christian's side of the court. That's a potential for a volley behind him, right? Not going to risk that. And that is the smart shot.
Yeah.
Games to 1, third set.
So, Mike, we have about 450 people watching right now on the channel. Really appreciate everybody tuning in for this semifinal matchup. The Steel City Open in Pittsburgh, PA. Really, really appreciate you all tuning in. Happy to have you guys chime in the chat, and Mike and I will try to follow along best we can. If you have any thoughts on this match as you're watching.
2-1.
I mean, I can't think of a better way to, start your Saturday night, wouldn't you say? I mean,
before going out to dinner, watching the best of the best play paddle? No, absolutely not.
15 low.
It's slippery slope here. This is, they say the best time to break is when you've been broken.
Right?
Yeah. You want to really come into this game making good choices.
15, 30.
Boy, you see the range there from Ostojic, you know. He little lackadaisical switch. Thought he had that to his side screen.
And Mike, you hear the sound the ball is making when these guys are hitting overheads, right? It's, you know, you can hear it like crisply getting hit on the side of the ball.
Yes. Well, I really like how, you know, the Ostojic and Gregurovic have really cranked down the discipline, and you know, you're not seeing as many loose points, except for there they had a little miscommunication with that lob in the middle.
And it's back to what we said, you know, about 2 hours ago or so now, right? Is these guys have all the shots, you just don't see them all hitting it all the time, right? And I think they've said, okay, let's sacrifice, you know, really hitting some heavy spins. Let's go to the spots.
30, 40.
And you see a little miscommunication there, brings them to get a break point to go back to 2-2.
Game, Gregurovic, Ostojic. We're tied 2-all, third set.
We have been here before, Mike, a few times now at 2-2.
Yeah, it seems to be the kind of the tipping point in both sets until Ostojic and Gregurovic made that comeback in the second.
And after 2 hours, you'd think we'd have a better idea of who's going to win, and I have no idea, Mike. I don't know if you feel heavy either way, but I have no idea who's going to win or feel really strongly about either.
You know, had you asked me the game before when Nunez and Christian went up a break, I'm like, okay, well, now they're the odds-on favorite to win that third set in the match, but they bounced right back. Gregurovic and Ostojic, and here we go. You know, we're back on serve.
40 love.
And they're up 40 love.
$40-15.
I mean, wouldn't you agree that Ostojic and Gregurovic are much more settled? You know, it's
absolutely. They seemingly are hitting their spots better. I think they're especially now better in transition too, right? They're not just standing up at net; they're flowing back. They're not getting themselves in trouble with their spots at the net.
And we've seen him let a few more balls go through the court, on good drives from Nunez. Where in the first set they were, Tommy G was trying to volley some of those and had a couple errors.
And that's the ball they want. They want Christian to drive it so that Ostojic, who's on top of the net, can try and volley behind them.
40-30.
Well, and that's where they want to contain the offense, really. They want to limit Nunez's offense, and they want, if either player to beat them in the backcourt, they want Tomas Christian to beat them.
Game, Gregurovic, Ostojic, they lead 3-2, third set.
And a phrase that I've used in the past, we've got a read here. I'll come back to that.
Yeah, we got a quick read from our sponsor, Volley. Train in real game scenarios with Serve and Volley, the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI-powered feature tracks your position, the ball, and the returns every serve for targeted practice. Try it today on the Volley app. And Mike, I don't know if you've seen the Volley app. I have downloaded it. Super cool. It tracks, all your matches, who your, best player is or partner from like a PTI perspective, who you've played the most, so like who your rival is. Very, very cool app if you have not seen it or downloaded it.
It is, it's on my phone, and I tell you, the volley machine, I wish we had a volley machine 10 years ago. I mean, it's a great training aid, and it, and the great thing is it continues to be enhanced with features that, the serve and volley feature now. And then you've got some great tips from Modic on how to hit specific shots, and then you roll right into the machine being able to give you those shots. So you've got some knowledge, but then the ability to kind of apply that knowledge. So if you're not using the volley, you're only cheating yourself. But what I was saying before the reader, what I was going to say was, I've used the phrase before that we let our opponents just hang around too much, and that momentum, we've seen that momentum slowly shift to where now, Nunez and Christian are having to, nice little close, but, they had an opportunity to finish. They were up a break in that second set. But now you see all of a sudden this momentum shift that is very dangerous.
I believe Christian and Nunez were up 3-2 in the second, Mike. And I would have told you with some level of certainty that they would win the match. I would have felt very confident saying that then, and I agree. The pendulum of momentum has fully swung to the other team here. And we talked about big moments. Nunez Christian need to be very, very careful here on this game, Mike. They do not want to get this third set a little out of hand here.
Boy, you see Gregurovic playing that little cat and mouse, little chip and charge.
And that might be the first point he's lost on it, Mike, right?
I was just going to say, I since maybe the first set.
40-30.
It's a big time serve there. Yeah, and Brian, we're getting down to the business end of this 24-25 season. I think next weekend we've got the Indianapolis Open, and then it's the Nationals in just under 3 weeks away. So we're, this is it's been a great season. You know, and I think the APTA has done a wonderful job in adding tournaments, but also the live streaming. You know, outfits like Joho and Jake, they do such a great job week in and week out.
It is not a small operation to get to get these live streams up, to coordinate all these tournaments and players. That's a great forehand on game point there to bring it back to deuce. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Mike. We have Indy next weekend, which those Indy guys down there are very good at paddle, but maybe even better people. Very good guys down in Indy. And then, you know, you've already talked about Nationals being at Philly, which I'm very excited to be watching that Saturday night finals and semis versus the Sunday mornings.
Boy, some great defensive screenplay there.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Advantage Christian Nunez.
Wow.
Ostojic is fighting for his life in the corner, doing an excellent job. And Nunez just sticks his hands out, has a great drop shot volley.
Nunez, we're tied 3-all, third set.
That's a great overhead combination.
That was.
That was the righty Nunez version, right? Going the opposite direction, basically.
A little score update from the other semifinal. It looks like Regalado Salazar over Benkeim and Burris 7-5, 7-5. They've moved on to another final. It might be their 7th final this year, but who's counting? Boy, the number of balls, they had to check the height of that net. The number of balls that Nunez has clipped the tape, and, you know, the ball just, it's like he's just a little bit off.
Yeah, I'm going to say it's the 9th ball that's been on the top of the tape in the last set and a half.
Boy, I don't mind that switch in the backcourt there.
They've been in this position before and have switched back very quickly, which I would have liked them to stay. But I agree, we're gonna have Nunez's forehand in the middle, Christian's forehand in the middle, and those are balls that I think we're gonna see. Yeah, Tomas Christian really step up and hit it because his forehand is also very big. Don't let it fool you that he hasn't been swinging at it that much. He can really hit it.
Well, and it too, you know, it gives Ostojic and Gregurovic a different look. But in some respects, you can also say, well, it kind of gives Nunez maybe a reset where, you know, he's had a couple errors but you see they're following their overheads and really, you know, directing the majority of them into Tomas Christian's corner. I mean, I don't blame him. It's kind of pick your poison.
And I love that swing from Christian, but, you know, Gregurovic, I think maybe had one hand in his pocket hitting that volley, Mike, forehand. I mean,
yeah.
You said these guys have settled in. They have really settled in here.
Nice transition right back to the net.
And that's what you said earlier, right? They've been willing to, again, they're not jumping at volleys, right? Across the net. Nunez had an unbelievable shot down the line. They go back and get it and reset.
Pretty impressive.
Game, Gregurovic, Ostojic. They lead 4-3. Third set.
We're getting close to crunch time, aren't we, Brian?
I'm thinking the sirens are going off here. If you're Christian Nunez, they have not broken Ostojic in about 2 sets now. And we know they have not held Thomas Christian's serve, I believe, in the last set and a half. So absolutely agree with you. This is mega, mega important.
Oh, I like that overhead.
And you don't have to get engaged with cat and mouse if you bring a dog with you, Mike. And that's what that overhead was, right?
I
Just
like
hit it
that.
hard.
Yes. Well, one of my phrases that I use a lot when we're talking about how do you play against the blitzer, I always say, you got to stop a bully by punching him in the mouth. And you saw Tomas Christian when he sensed that Gregurovic was stepping forward, he just hit the overhead hard. And, that makes for a very difficult ball to blitz off of.
He got the look he wanted, just missed it out.
There's another
30-15.
Spin. That is all spin.
Yep,
Nice.
There it is. So good.
40-15.
Thus far, a little bit better service game here from Christian. And it looks to me like he's going after the serve a little bit more, and being aggressive to it, a little more conservative spot, more towards the middle of the box, but with that heavier serve.
And I think he's missed, most of his serves in the net. And, you can't miss serves in the net if you hit them in the box or long, right? So
yeah.
He's going after it and saying, okay, I'm going to really swing at this. He's talented enough to be able to hit them in wherever he wants. So I agree, just increased margin on this serve, a little smarter. And that's a great serve. Possibly an even better return, though.
Yeah, I would say so. Great series of lobs.
Oh, man, and that's a
too
bullet.
hot to handle.
Ostojic.
You know what I really liked about that drive from Gregurovic was that he went right to Nunez's paddle. He, hit it very aggressively, but put it right on a paddle and drew an error on the volley. And one of the, mistakes that the average player makes is they tend to hit to space, or they try to hit a passing shot when they come off the tennis court, and the court's not big enough.
Deuce.
One break, that was a big break point to save there.
Yeah, a long deuce game. Down 3-4 in the third set of the semifinals. I wouldn't have it any other way.
Good.
Advantage, Christian Nunez.
I go. You got it. That's it. I go.
Deuce.
And we talked about the lefty-righty needing to overly communicate, Mike. That might have been just driven by the point before with some slight miscommunication on the overheads.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh. Boy, some really good spins.
Christian Nunez.
And I like that Nunez hasn't laid off of that cutter. I think he's pulled his targets in a little bit. He hasn't had the errors that we saw sneak in at the end of that second set, but he's still getting the effectiveness of the cutter.
Gregurovic, Ostojic.
Smart little release from the net.
And very smart by Tomas Christian not run in to hit a very hard volley, right? Just stay back, reset.
Boy, for the the 400 or 500 people that are watching at home, you pay attention to how much they're using the middle of the court here. It's at the highest levels, it's one of the most overworked spots. And at the lower levels, it's amazing how they fall in love with the corners and they keep trying to hit every ball to the screen. A little frustration from Christian there.
They lead 5-3, third set. And a new ball for you, Tim.
Ryan, would you like to be playing with a new ball as you serve for the semifinal match of the Steel City? To get to the finals with
a 0% chance. 0. Give me the old ball. Let me use that. No way I'd want a new ball here. But he, puts it right in the middle of the box, and that's why he's here. And we're not, Mike.
You're right. Right. Nice ball from Christian. Good shift to his left. Tattoo that forehand.
All.
Wow.
Just a great series of overheads. And Christian thought he could kind of get the upper hand, but Gregurovic was on top of the net on that one.
Boy, and this takes us to double match point, right?
Yep. That's one match point, Mike.
That's one. That's two saved.
Deuce.
And going down the line, I'd really like to see Christian do that on a return here. He's really only gone exclusively cross court. I love that play down the line on the return.
Especially when you're putting it right on the paddle. It forces that. It's relatively safe for the driver. Because even if that ball's going long, it's more than likely going to be volleyed, or you force that volleyer to make a decision.
Advantage, Christian Nunez. Gonzo.
Now, another question. Would you want to use a brand new ball, break point up 5-3, Mike? Because that's what's going to happen, because I think that ball just went out of the court. Or maybe someone got it, which is good.
Yeah, but either way, now it might be wet, so you've got to pick your poison. I'd rather serve with a brand new ball.
Me too.
Than a wet ball.
What an unbelievable half volley there.
And a great cover from Christian, too.
Deuce. Advantage, Gregurovic, Ostojic.
Great touch. Match point number 3 here.
That hit the big kicker right at the crease. Oh, he did.
Look at you. He did it.
What a great get from Nunez. That's the first backhand, Nunez backhand cutter that we've seen all match. That thing is a thing of beauty, isn't it?
I mean, talk about confidence, though. To hit that shot, my goodness.
Down match point. That's full commitment to the hitting the shot, hitting the right shot at the right time.
What a great lob there from Nunez.
Now that's a ball I think Tommy G wants back. Balling away.
Oh, what a good volley that was.
Careful.
Game, Christian Nunez. Gregurovic, Ostojic lead 5-4, third set.
You know, that was an interesting, I think we hadn't seen, they hadn't really given Nunez any balls to come up that side screen, you know, up the ad side since the end of the first set. I believe. I mean, they've been doing a much better job, and they being Gregurovic and Ostojic just being able to pick their spots better.
What a great overhead by Ostojic there.
Yeah, he is feeling it, isn't he? I mean,
absolutely.
Love 30.
And Christian made the hard volley there. Love 30. And we're now love 40, so triple match point. So match point number 4 here.
Boy.
Game, set, match. Gregurovic, Ostojic. 3-6, 6-4, 6-4. You got it, guys.
Well, Brian, any final thoughts there on that match?
No, but that's just a classic paddle match, right? We saw
Yeah.
Gregurovic and Ostojic just kind of hang around, and, you know, they were tenacious and fought back and managed to pull out the W.
I tell you, very impressive. Impressive. They, you know, when they were down, they were able to fight back. Like you said, they really kind of showed another level of discipline and shot making that I haven't seen. I've seen the shot making, but I haven't seen it coupled with that discipline that they showed us. And boy, congratulations to them. I believe you're going to be right back on for the women's match with Denise Murphy coming up shortly. Is that correct?
That is correct. I'm stoked for that one. So please tune in if you're watching now. That'll be a great one.
All right. Well, thank you, Brian. And that's a wrap from the men's semifinals here. So stay tuned or come back to the APTA YouTube channel for our women's match coming up in a matter of moments. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Mike.
Want to see how volley can transform training at your club? We've got a great offer for you. Gather 30 of your club friends and you'll get a free 30-day trial of volley. Experience firsthand how volley's trainer can help everyone improve. Increase reps and track your progress, all while training smarter. Don't miss out. Visit getvolley.com and unlock your club's full potential with a 30-day free trial.
Hi, I'm Mike Yahimski. I'm the National Chairman of the Umpires Committee for the APTA. So I started umpiring back, it was maybe 5 years ago. There was a local tournament at my home club at Indian Trail Club, and they needed umpires. And I put my hand up to volunteer for that tournament. And here I am, running the APTA umpires. So becoming an umpire is easy. I'll send you a bunch of materials that you read through, including the rules. There's a special handbook that basically walks you through the entire process to make sure that you're successful up in the chair from day one. There's a 15-question multiple choice certification exam. Super simple for the most part. If you play paddle, you'll pass it right away. And then when you pass, I'll put you in touch with the regional captain, and they'll get you up in the chair at the next tournament. An ideal candidate is obviously you have to love paddle, and then someone who has confidence. If you want to make a call, you got to stick to it. You got to be confident, and someone who doesn't mind being a little cold up there sometimes or a little wet, but anybody really who wants to give back to the APTA and the game of paddle, becoming an umpire is truly the perfect opportunity. My name again, Mike Yahimski. I'm the National Chairman of the APTA Umpires Committee. If you're interested in becoming an umpire, reach out to me and I'll give you all the information you need.
At Volley, we build tools to unlock your potential. The new Volley PTI feature breaks down your game like never before. Ever wondered, which partner has impacted my PTI the most? What's our win percentage as the favorite or underdog? Do I perform differently in 2 or 3 set matches? Now, it's all at your fingertips. The PTI tool is free to everyone. Download the Volley app today and level up your game. We'll see you on the court.